Good morning to everyone, to Miss Ash and my fellow friends. My name is Gary G. Woon. Today I'm going to present my topic about the digital transformation digital transformation, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and tech sovereignty under the Rotterdam rules. So the issue I have chosen was the machine learning predict delivery delay. So first of all, the introduction. So in the terms of digital transformation in maritime industry, the full integration of digital technology into traditional uh, maritime business and legal practice with a view to improving efficiency and transparency in permitting better and efficient decision-making process within the maritime value chain. This implies a change from paper-based manual system to digital-based system with regard to shipping, cargo management, port management, and documentation. So, in practical terms, digital transformations refer to the application of technologies such as AI, machine learning, IoT, blockchain technology, big data analytics, uh, in monitoring the vessel operation, identifying delay, optimizing route, managing risk, and digitizing documentation such as bill of lading and military transport record. So this technology permit real-time communication of data amongst all the unit in maritime industry. To minimize this inefficiency and transactional costs in maritime trades. However, the traditional rule of evidence in shipping contracts, which form an important part of contractual in shipping law and under large threat due to the increasing use of AI and machine learning techniques in shipping transport shipping and transport. So the paper-based record, including a bill of lading, generally provide the primary source of evidence for contractual terms, cargo condition, and right transfer under shipping laws. However, with the use of AI, the machine learning techniques, which process large quantity of electronic records for shipping, there includes exists confusion as to their legal validity, reliability, ownership, and admissibility as evidence in case relating to carriage of transportable goods by sea. So the Rotterdam rules, known as the United Nations Convention on Contract for the International Carriage for Goods, wholly or partly by sea, aims to modernize the shipping laws to accommodate electronic documentation, which includes containerization and electronic commerce. So one of the key difference between the Rotterdam's rule and other sets of rules such as Hague and Hague-Swiss rule is implicit acknowledgement and reading of electronic communications or uh, electronic transport record, similar to paper-based communication or transport record. So the convention was specifically developed to uh, facilitate electronic commerce by creating a principal concept for transferable e-record, which would allow the bill of lading to have negotiability as trade instrument. So by recognizing this electronic communication and setting rule for controls, transfer, and authentication of electronic records, the Rotterdam rules help to uh, enable the paperless trade. So next, the Article 8 of Rotterdam rule. So under the Chapter 3 on electronic transport records, create a legal recognition to electronic transport record and traditional paper-based transport document. It states that information to be contained in the transport document can be recorded in electronic transport record subject to the issuance and subsequent use thereof with the consent of both the carrier and shipper involved. So in addition, insurance exclusive control, the transfer of the air transport record shall have an equivalent legal effect, and transferable of electronic transport records shall have a processing and transfer of paper transport document. So the article at indirect support acceptability of such output by legitimizing record electronic input that machine learning system draw upon the way the machine learning models process recognize electronic transport record to generate an output relevant to contractual performance of which that output may be offered and as the electronic evidence subject to ordinary rules on reliability and probative value. So the exclusive control ensure the data integrity and traceability. So in addition of air train transport record to similarly to having physical document, thus enhancing the data integrity and traceability. So the final being a vital opponents in assessing the reliability of machine generated evidence. The article supports that the argument that electronically generated record is useful in machine learning system fall within the framework of contractual documentation and do not represent extraneous data source if incorporated onto contractual dispute concerning the prediction made by the machine learning system, such as whether the carrier should have expected delay. So next, the legal implication of predictive delay under the Rotterdam rules. So the increasing of the machine learning in maritime logistics to predict the delay delivery raised uh, the huge questions about the carrier's duty of care and the liability under the Rotterdam rules. So under the Rotterdam rules, the carrier has the basic duty to perform the contract of carrier properly and carefully. Under the Article 13, require the carrier to receive, load, handle, carry, keep, care for, and deliver the goods properly and carefully. The machine learning system that predicts delivery is based on weather data, uh, port condition, vessel performance, or route analysis do not create any legal duty. However, using this system may raise the standard for judging the carrier action if a carrier has access to reliable predictive information showing a high likelihood of delay. Failing to act could be seen as a failure to uh, exercise the reasonable care. So the duty of care remains the base reasonable, but predictive system extend the range of risk consider the predictable delay. So next, AI generated ETA report, which means the estimate time arrival generated by the machine learning tools would not be legally binding in accordance with modern documentation standards such as the Rotterdam rules. A carrier duty remains the delivery the goods in a reasonable time as provided by the convention. In Article 8 of the Rotterdam rules also recognize the admissibility of electronic communication as valid contract, and such ETA could be admissible as electronic evidence within AI report. However, admissibility and the legal binding consequence of such contract labor, the ETA are predictive in nature, they are not manifesting of mutual intent. The relevance of such report is that they tend to show possibility, knowledge and risk, and the reasonable of the carrier action code, and also take on into the account AI produce ETS in the determination of whether the shipper exercise due diligence or reasonably react to projected delay at destination. And electronic transport record and machine learning challenge. The air transport record, as provided in Rotterdam rules, are paperless electronic alternative to traditional paper shipping documents that have the legal and documentation status as the negotiable bill of lading. With the use of ETR, the common evidentiary issue in maritime dispute like missing document, forgery, uh, delayed delivery, and conflicting record are largely eliminated. But combining with the machine learning algorithm, the air transport record offer a structured, time-dependent, and authenticated data set that can be used for real-time analysis. So for the understanding, uh, without the without the machine learning, the transport record delivery delay, missing data, but with the machine learning, they can check the real-time analysis. Uh, the data can be stored. The principle of single access the ETL also guarantees this data integrity the check and checkability under the Rotterdam rules. The ETR have the legal recognition under the enable the output produce this ETR utilizing machine learning when measurable as electronic evidence to have a reliable and probative value in maritime disputes case despite the absence of commitment by machine learning. So next, the tax sovereignty under Rotterdam's rule. Tax sovereignty refers to the capability of the state or business to maintain control over various aspects, including shipping data and decision-making process, without the influence of foreign control, global technology, including AI platform. So the measure of support is given to the concept data control as it is agreed in the convention under the Article 8 that legally recognize electronic record, thus giving them some measure of equivalent to paper record. The convention through the introduction of the concept of exclusive control ensure that the party to the contract is in full control of any shipping records, whether in paper or electronic. But it has to be noted that these Rotterdam rules fail to provide complete tax sovereignty. This is because the convention is technology neutral, failing to provide any rules establishing where, how, or even whether international AI platform could access, analyze, or retain information related to shipping activity. So the convention lacks any provision concerning data localization, autonomic governance, cross-border data flows, or even any role of state in governing digital infrastructure. While a company may have complete data over over the flow of the more information, however, the power of between the carrier may influence the data interpretation and operation decision without being caught by maritime liability regimes. So to conclude this, the maritime transport sector is no longer a traditional one based on the documentation support by the traditional or artificial intelligence driven logistics. With the assistance of electronic transport record, there is a need to address the legal implication of the increased possibility and liability and control of information related to shipping transport. The introduction of Rotterdam will provide the significant landmark where there is a legal recognition of functional equivalence of electronic transport records to address the necessary documentation based on a developed framework of liability. However, while the convention is technologically neutral and sufficiently adaptable and dynamic to cover machine learning outcome as electronic evidence is not completely future-proof, as it is for to govern algorithmic data governance and cross-border control AI platform. So as a uh, uh, predictive technology increasingly inform operational decision equivalent under the Rotterdam rules may become more rigorous in instance where there was a possibility of any delay raised by AI instead. So now from the point of view, uh, there's a balance of power. AI may function to the benefit of both carrier and shipper depending on uh, its use as proof due to due diligence or the lack of notice advice. So ultimately, the Rotterdam rules are structurally sound. Additional advice for or the special protocol pertaining to the regulation of AI may be required to guarantee fairness, understandability, and technological sovereignty in modern maritime commerce. So to conclude, the Rotterdam rules always successfully modernized the communication for data era, but the rise of AI-driven logistic law will likely depend on Rotterdam framework, but to enhancing it to ensure economy fairness and technology security in the increased automated shipping industry. That's all from me. Thank you.